You can. So.
Anyway, hi everyone. So tonight we are talking playoffs and some other things that are coming up with hockey as we're rounding down the season. So technically we're still in round two because Mel's team is still hanging on. So Canucks and Oilers, they play tomorrow in game 7?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. How are you feeling?
It's pretty nerve-wracking. I forgot what the playoffs were like how emotionally invested you get. And what's really crazy is your mood swings. Like you're thinking, well, it's just a hockey game. I don't know. But then you're so down or you're so happy, depending on what happens. And I was also mentioning just before is how much you start to hate the other team. Like, let's say they're hitting your favorite player all the time, or the fans are like insulting everyone on social media, and you just get this thing like, I don't even care, about my team. I just don't want their team to win. So it's kind of ridiculous. Although Nashville, I guess I wasn't quite as invested. I think it's because it's a Canadian series that the Canadian fans are really going at it and getting pretty passionate about everything. Although, and it's great to see too, because the games are so crazy and the people are so, the crowds have been awesome at every single one of the games. Just so loud and so involved. So it's all been really good. And I mean, if you told me at the beginning of the season that who was going to make the playoffs, and if you said, "Oh, the Canucks are going to make it to the second round," I would have thought I would be so happy. But obviously, you get greedy. No, I want them to win again.
So whoever wins that series will then play Dallas for the Western Conference Finals.
Right.
And then Stacey, I know, is probably very excited because her Rangers are now going to take on the Panthers, which is just an interesting matchup, I think, for the Eastern. Stacey, how are you feeling?
Oh my God. Talking about how emotionally invested one gets in a series, I literally had to be removed from the room with the television because I was that freaked out during game 6. I literally was like, I can't. So I was following the game on social media, and it was just nuts. So, cue walnuts and almonds and peanuts in the background. But like I'm not sure. Like, again, like I've spent this whole season being like, I don't know if they can do it. I don't know. Because you never know what team is going to show up. And the second round series was a perfect example of it. One team showed up the first 3 games, and then the next 2 games, another team showed up. Of course, like there were conversations about ailments going through the room, but like bottom line, like so basically you never know who's going to show up. And even halfway through game 6, there was a whole different team showing up. And then someone who I definitely think is going to get his number high, like, raised to the rafters. Chris Kreider showed up in game 6 in a large way, and that was just wow. That was an adrenaline rush. So who knows? Yeah, like so yeah, like who knows what's gonna happen. Florida has a much stronger goaltender in Sergei Bobrovsky than the Canes did in either of their two. And they have a stronger team than the Canes do. So we'll see. Who knows?
I haven't really been watching at all because my team's not in, so I just haven't really cared. So I had to like look up. I was like, who's even in anymore?
Oh no.
I feel like Fortune might feel similar to me. We're just like, you know what? Over it.
But I think it's worth mentioning that like the Rangers were the President's Trophy champions this year, and they are going to make the conference final, and I believe that hasn't happened in a while. And I wrote here my note. It says, I feel like a jerk because I think all like the top 3 teams are still left, I think. in the whole league that are they're still in the finals. And it's like I feel like a jerk because I like it when there's an underdog, but like it's also really fun when the best teams play. So that's kind of fun. I haven't seen a Canucks jersey in where I live, but the streets are flooded with Oilers jerseys and the bars are insane. Like you'd think we were in Edmonton.
That is interesting.
I guess that's to be expected.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Kelly, do you want to talk about your fraud of a team? That's what we were joking about.
Well, I can talk about it now. I was pretty upset after they got eliminated. I still don't know what to think about this whole thing. They are a fraud because I still think it was so bizarre how they could play so well all season. Like the best defensive team in the league, the best goalie in the league, and then they get into the playoffs and they just collapse. But maybe that's what people meant by them being a fraud, was that they could play fine during the regular season, and then when the pressure is on, they can't handle it. So that was my sister, who I am currently at my sister's place for the long weekend here in Canada. It's a long weekend, and we were talking about this earlier, and my sister was going to come on the show tonight to talk about this, but she her opinion is they just need psychological help. So she meaning, I mean, and I know what she means, like maybe they need a sports psychologist to work with them. And I haven't, because, and we've talked about this, they used to have a sports psychologist that worked with the Jets, and I don't hear about that anymore. I don't know if they do, but it seems like they need something to be able to handle the pressure of the playoffs and be tough enough and just be able to deal with that adversity. Like it was like watching two different teams, and even they couldn't explain it afterwards. Like every, in the exit interviews that they do after, at the end of the season, all the players are like, I don't know what happened. Like what?
I heard.
And Hellebuck, our goaltender, who's a Vezina winner, Vezina candidate, he said he felt like he was playing his best hockey of the season, and I don't think so. Like there was, admittedly, he didn't have a great defense playing in front of him, but there were a lot of goals that did not look good for him. So like, how does that happen? How do you have such a hot goaltender through the whole regular season, and then you get into playoffs and it just falls apart? So I guess maybe that's the whole fraud thing, was that they couldn't come through when they really needed to. I don't know.
I was listening to a hockey podcast, the Hockey PDO-cast, and they were talking about coaching, that they felt that Winnipeg had maybe not made adjustments, that you've got like some young player who just came in at the very end and should have been playing earlier, and maybe adjustments, and because the interesting
Definitely.
In the
Definitely
playoffs,
think there were some.
They might say, okay, Hellebuck's got a weakness here, and they would hit it over and over again. And if you don't adjust the defense to prevent, let's say, whatever shots were his weakness, then stuff like that can happen, because they're like, okay, we just have to keep doing this or that.
Exactly. I do think there were some poor coaching decisions, in my opinion. Not that I know everything, and I'm certainly not a coach, but it just seemed crazy that one of our best forward players, Cole Perfetti, admittedly he's young and doesn't have that much experience, but why did they sit him out until the very last game? Like,
especially
that didn't make
against
sense.
the fast team like the
yeah. And they changed the lineups even when things were working. They changed the lineups. Like, why? There were lots of things that didn't make sense. So I don't know.
There was also this moment where I was watching the second round, Dallas and Colorado, and they were talking about the way that Colorado shot at the net, both against Dallas and during a game that they were winning, and against Winnipeg. And they were talking about basically like Hellebuck was just fantastic. It was just the volume of shots he was facing. And like, again, goes to
yeah.
but like, they were like, the commentators were basically like, listen, Hellebuck was fantastic. Just Colorado, was.
I guess I don't know. I think to win you need a hot goaltender, and it didn't seem like he was hot, but maybe he was. It's all. It was just it was so disappointing because they played so well all season, and they had made a lot of good moves in terms of trades, and had put together what we thought was going to be a really strong team for the playoffs. And it was like deja vu, like last year, same exact thing happened. First round, they win the first game, and then they lose 4 in a row and they're out. And it was just even more disappointing than last year because this year we had so much hope. I'm getting all choked up. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
See,
I
know what you mean, Melanie, about that question. Like it's just
Yeah.
I can't
hopefully
even like sit and watch. I'm like Stacey said, like you're getting so stressed out. So I've started doing like
yeah.
bicep curls because the TV's like right where our home gym is. So I'm just doing. So if we go another round, I'm gonna have amazing arms.
yeah. Well, hopefully the Jets don't get to the point like the Flames and the Flyers where you're like, nope, unless they have that cup in hand, I don't believe it.
I think that's the other thing that's hard. Like for me as a Canucks fan, is they've let us down so many times that you just can't believe it until they actually do it. You think,
Yeah.
of course we're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm getting my hopes up. Oh, it's all so up and down.
But yeah, like, it's
Well, I'm still enjoying the playoffs. I think the second round has been really good. Like I'm not I have the games on. I'm not watching them super closely, but a lot of the games that I like they seem intense. Like there's been like fights, and like there was that one crazy game, fights, and just like a lot of passion and intensity and good playing. So like it's been fun to watch.
And
Even though the Jets
suspect refereeing too, of
oh
course.
gosh, yeah, the refs are awful.
Yeah.
Like, who was I talking to about this? I was talking to someone. I think I was talking to a friend who's a Bruins fan.
Yeah, I think the Boston, Florida was the worst, I think.
Yeah. But like there were tons of time in the Rangers Canes series where the refs swallowed their whistles because for a lot of different reasons, but primarily because if they called a penalty on someone, the Rangers would score. Like I think we scored like at least 2 shorthanded goals on the Carolina power play.
Yeah.
And so like literally there were so many different things that were being ignored. And like but of course you'd see, the Canes coach like standing up and screaming about the lack of penalties being called at the end of the game. Like what?
Yeah.
But like,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, they say they don't want to impact the game, but if you don't call it, it impacts the game.
Exactly.
So.
Like people get injured, things happen. Like it's wild. And like, my friend was talking about how the number of penalties, I think, called against Boston made some kind of a record. I want to say, like, was it too many millimeters? I don't know. Like it was some penalty that was called against Boston enough times to like make some kind of record, which was wild.
And then like Brad Marchand getting punched, right? And you're sort of torn, like it's wrong, but you're sort of, well.
I don't know if you guys heard this. Sorry. I don't know if you guys like heard or saw this interview, but Marchand said something to the effect to someone that it's okay because it's playoff hockey, and the objective of playoff hockey is to injure as many people as you can while on the ice.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I did. I heard. Well, I didn't hear. I just heard a report about it. Yeah. So, but I mean, in that way, he said, "Well, I don't blame. Who is it? Sam Bennett that punched him." He says, "I don't blame him because that's what we do."
Okay.
Just like.
Maybe you shouldn't have said the quiet part out loud.
Right?
Yeah, I was just like,
You know,
Well, even
Amy's
Paul
getting older
Maurice,
and doesn't care.
Paul Maurice said after that one game, I think it was who were they playing against? Boston?
Yeah.
And the fighting that was going on, and then who was the Boston player? One of their good players comes out and like just starts fighting with oh shit, I don't even remember who the players were, but afterwards they ask like, "Do you want your best players fighting in the playoffs?" And Paul Maurice is like, "Yeah." Crazy.
Absolutely. I love it. I love when the captains fight. And just especially like in the playoffs because
Yeah.
you're leading your team. And I don't know what I think it's because we're hockey fans and Canadians, but I got to talk to somebody yesterday who's not a hockey fan, and everyone's like, no, you got to come watch the game, like the Edmonton Vancouver game last night. It's like Hockey Night in Canada. It's 8:00. It'll be great. You'll love it. And it was at the pub, and it was like all busy, and she's like, I don't. And I was like, oh, we can't be friends. So, yeah, it's weird. It's weird talking to someone who doesn't watch hockey.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have predictions for who we think is going to win? Does anyone want to say their prediction? No? Nobody wants.
I don't.
don't
You guys
know.
can say what you want. I'm not saying a word.
Oh, yeah, we can't. It's Jinxie Pants. No, we can't jinx.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Is there a team we're jinxing? We can jinx a team. Let's pick one to jinx. See if
Well, I
it
was gonna
works.
say, I would love for like one of the Canadian teams, whoever ends up winning the Canucks Oilers. I would just like a Canadian team to win because I feel like it's
Oh,
about,
I would so love that. Can
you
we
know,
jinx
like
the Stars? Dallas, let's jinx the Stars. I think
Right.
I'll predict that they're gonna win.
No, yeah. No actual offense to the Stars. I think you're gonna win.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since my team was out and I haven't really been paying attention, I did also like kind of look into like the draft lottery, like who got number one, and San Jose got number one, and they suck really bad. So like they deserved it. I think so one of my critique partners, she likes San Jose, but she's not really she's more of like a baseball fan, but like the other two of us are Flyers fans, and we've kind of converted her daughter into being a Flyers fan because she said that San Jose sucks so bad that she wants to be a Flyers fan instead. And I'm like, why? But, so like the Flyers got 12, which is like whatever. Like, I mean, it's not really gonna affect my team for several years, but with 12, interestingly, the Utah team is getting pick number 6. So, I mean, they were Phoenix, so I guess that kind of makes sense. And then Fortune, I saw Calgary got 9.
Yeah.
And that's kind of as far as I know.
Yeah, it's not a great pick because like I don't know how much you guys watch like the coverage on TV about the draft lottery, but apparently Calgary had like a 66% chance to like draw in the top 3. So they got 9. That doesn't do anything. But the kind of like little fun thing is that Joe McGinley's son is in that like 9 spot ish for the draft coming up. So that could be a fun thing. And Craig Conroy's come out and he's like, oh, I haven't talked to anybody about it, blah, blah, blah. But that would just be fun. That's like a fun draft thing, I guess.
And I think you guys made a lot of trades. Calgary made a lot of trades, so they probably have a lot of picks in this draft.
Yeah, I'm really excited because we haven't had a new GM in a long time. And I really like enjoy Craig Conroy as upper management kind of guy. I used to hate him for being that guy like on the ice, but now that he's doing it in the actual role, it's I'm really hopeful and optimistic about like the future of the franchise because it's not going to be the same for the last 20 years,
Actually, you should be cheering for the Canucks because I think if we go to the conference final, the Elias Lindholm pick goes higher.
Oh, well, I will cheer for them then. I can't really cheer for Edmonton. And like I have a beef with Canucks fans, not Mel, but like from the whole Boston thing. And So it's hard. I'm trying to cheer for Canada, but like I don't like anybody like east of Ottawa or east of Winnipeg. I'm like Sean and I were talking about the Canadian teams and we forgot about Ottawa. Like we were just like,
Well,
don't worry
it
about
was funny
like, our
because
Western Conference teams.
when we were playing Nashville, they paint a car with the opposing team's colors, and then they hit it with a sledgehammer. I think you pay a fee and you get to hit the car. And the Canucks fans are like, "Those are amateurs. Like only one car. We do police cars."
Set them on fire on TV.
Well, yeah, like in Philly, we have to explain to people not from Philly, like when we make the greasing up the poles joke, because other cities don't climb the telephone poles.
But
They literally grease the poles. Like literally, I'm not kidding.
Oh yeah. I remember hearing about that around the time of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, my brother-in-law actually was like there for the Eagles, and every time I just see him, he wants to talk about it again. And I'm like, we've had this conversation, but it was just crazy. All right. So speaking of Utah, I was looking into the Utah team, and they are not going to have a name or colors or mascot picked next year, even though they're just gonna play as Utah. I don't like this for the same reasons that I don't like that the women's league didn't do this.
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like it makes more sense because they're a fledgling league. They're just starting to figure their things out. I'm just like, how is a National Hockey League team can't like get it together for the next season? So
And like they wanted this team.
yeah.
Like this is a relocation. They have an arena all set to go. Why can't they have the colors and the name all ready to go? Yep.
I don't get it. Like, it bothered me. I was like, I give the women's league a little bit of a pass, even though I don't like that. But I feel like, since they're still new, they're still figuring things out. I think that makes sense. Not for an NHL team. Like that's
Right.
that's bananas to me.
I think the good thing is that you can see that the PWHL is trying new things. And they've been so successful. And so like not having the jerseys, maybe Utah saw that and they thought, well, it worked out okay for that. And so, and for the playoffs, they did that thing where the top team gets to pick their opponent. It's nice to have somebody that's not related in any way to the NHL and says, oh, we can try these new things. And then if they work out, maybe the NHL will have to look at them too.
So I did also look at their polling. They had polled fans before, and they took like 20 of the most polled names and are now polling fans again and asking them for their top 4. They're definitely going for like a winter weather type of feel. So I put these in the chat. So they're all like Utah and then the name. So it's Frost, Caribou, Hive, Powder, Blizzard, Ice, Glaciers, HC, so just Utah Hockey Club, Mammoth, Outlaws, Cannons, Blast, Freeze, Squall, Mountaineers, Yeti, Fury, Venom, Black Diamonds, and Swarm. So they're definitely going for like a wintry snow type of deal. Fortune, what do you have to say?
Well, because I think all of us live north of Utah, and like they have a desert climate, and then I had to go on like the weather page to make sure that I was right, and that they did have a semi-arid desert climate. So, like, I don't know about you, coyotes make sense. Like the canyons make sense. Like they could be
glaciers.
And glaciers are slow. Like, I do like.
Yes.
I didn't mind the HC. Just even I didn't mind it. It was just like a little bit different for now. I don't know. Well, that's what I mean. Like everybody's different. But I was reading. I don't know. I went and looked and I saw some people talking about these names. And there are a lot of like the Batman and Robin, like Mr. Freeze references to a lot of these names, which I thought was funny. And then I couldn't take it seriously anymore.
When Someone
I
actually.
know there's a hockey romance writer because she posted in like a Facebook group that we're all in.
Yeah.
She has the Utah Fury, and now she's starting to get worried about like, what do I need
Right.
to do if they choose that? I don't know if that is a big one that they're gonna pick, but so that like becomes an issue for like us when we're like picking these names. I kind of like
Yeah.
Yeti because it's out there, and Kraken Yeti, I kind of would like that would kind of make sense, but I don't think they're gonna go for that one. Like I really don't.
You
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
see the mascot right away if they went Yeti.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Right?
I heard something about like Utah Phoenix, and I'm like, that would be cool.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't hear
Yeah.
that.
I like that.
Worse than
Like,
Mormon names.
Yeah. Stormin' Mormons, somebody on Twitter said.
yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
man.
UPenn in Philly has the Quakers, so it wouldn't be that outlandish at the
I
moment,
guess.
but maybe not.
Yeah, there's some interesting name choices there, but
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely interesting. So we'll see what they decide. But I can definitely see a theme that they're trying to go for, which I was like,
Yeah, you're right.
snow in Utah? Like I was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
confused.
Where does the hive?
I don't
What is
know.
that?
No,
I don't know.
I could just eat bees. That's about it. like
Yeah,
random.
I think Swarm was one of their number ones, and then if they couldn't get the Swarm, then they go the Hive. But I don't even know what a squall is.
It's like a snow squall is
Yeah,
what I think they were trying to say.
like a
Yeah.
little storm,
Yeah.
a small storm. So I don't think that's good.
I was just trying to think of like things in the desert, and Utah dust just came around my brain, and it was like, that's kind of funny. Don't hire me for marketing, guys.
I mean, like, I like Caribou, but that like works for like Minnesota, like a Canadian team. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it works.
That's one of my fictional teams is the Minnesota Caribou.
Yeah.
Minnesota or Minneapolis. Yeah. Caribou.
I definitely have seen it for another like
Yeah.
Minnesota team for sure. So like well they have and makes sense because I think Caribou coffee is out in Minnesota. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
For some reason, the Caribou. Well, also it makes me think of Quebec City, Carnival. But
Yeah. All right. I thought we would take way longer to talk about some of these things. So I think we can move on to wildest things. I didn't have anything to talk about. Kelly, I know you want to talk about John Cooper.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess.
Yes.
It was just another kind of one of those um situations where we deal with like the old boys club kind of stuff where so for people who don't know um the Tampa Bay Lightning head coach John Cooper was talking about after one of the playoff games where there were a couple of goaltender interference calls made against his team and both of the calls negated goals for the Panthers. So he was upset. And after the game, they were interviewing him, and he's talking about net front battles and how this is how it's supposed to be. And if we can't do this, well, we might as well put skirts on them then, if that's how it's going to be, is what he said. So then, of course, there was like Twitter, hockey Twitter blew up with like this kind of misogynistic comment and rightly so. I mean, it was a stupid thing to say. But he did apologize, um, and said that he has daughters that play sports and he had to explain himself to his daughters and he regretted that he said that and apologized. for offending people. So he apologized. It was just kind of a dumb thing.
He's a lawyer too, right? It's not like him to miss.
Is he?
Yeah.
That's, yeah, like, you know, it's like every 5 minutes, him and the Lightning, John Cooper, best coach ever, John Cooper, best coach ever. And then he does this, and like, that's like, it's literally a very short time where like it blew up and then nothing. And I'm like, really?
Yeah. I hadn't even heard of it until you guys told me about
Like,
it.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like if any other coach had said this, like, A, they shouldn't be saying this in the first place because it's nonsense. But the double standard in relation to John Cooper drives me absolutely bananas.
Oh.
Somebody's taking it personally.
I mean,
That's
like,
interesting.
like, you think about it, like, as a hockey, like, what coach do you hear about most often in terms of like playoffs over the last number of years, and like in coverage about like the league during very particular situations? It's John Cooper. And this is allowed to like go away without major consequences. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm tired of having these conversations when it comes to our sport.
I know. I
I'm
know.
really
I
tired
know.
of it. But
Well,
it's
Yeah.
especially now that there's a women's professional league.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
And they're playing, you know, a pretty tough style of hockey too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not, we all know it. Like, I'm just so sick of talking about it because it's not just hockey. It's football. It's friggin' like Puff Daddy. Like, I'm just so
Yeah.
I know.
all of it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we can talk about a maybe more positive thing. Let's talk about Mel and the Latvian national hockey team.
Okay, so among the things that have happened to the Canucks is that we lost the Vezina quality goalie and went down to the backup, which was okay. But then the backup got hurt, and we went to the next guy, who's a Latvian goalie called Artur Silovs, and he's been playing very well. So it's been a nice story, and everybody's like, "Oh man, you know, I can't believe he did this. He's so new." And he's so calm and everything. But the story is that last year at the World Hockey Championships, Shilovs, it's pronounced, it was the goalie for the Latvian national team. And they were doing really well. He was playing amazing. He actually was voted the #1 player in the tournament. So Latvia, who had never finished higher than 7th in the world, was going into the medal rounds. They were defeated by Canada, so they were in the bronze medal, and they beat the USA to get the bronze medal. So that was on May 28th, and they were so happy. That night, the Latvian parliament met at midnight and declared that the next day, May 29th, would be a national holiday so everybody could support the team when they came back to Latvia. So when they flew back in the airplane, as they came to the runway, they had water cannons going over the plane. And when they got out, all the like staff and people are out there cheering them. They get on a bus to go to downtown Riga to, I think it's called the Monument of Freedom, which is a big like statue monument there in the middle of town. So they're in a bus to go. People are lined up on the highway, like cheering and waving.
Crazy.
When they got there, it was a holiday. It was a beautiful day. There was 50,000 people there at the Monument of Freedom, like in the parks and all around. You just see, like, they just sort of pan out, and the street is just packed with people, and everyone is cheering this. They're so happy. So, and somebody said, it's the bronze medal, and they're like, it's the best thing that's ever happened to Latvian hockey. So when you can just look it up or Google it and see the things that happened, but it was just such a nice story. And so obviously he's not really the NHL playoffs are nothing compared to your whole country coming out and cheering for you because you had a good performance. So it's just a super nice story. And I didn't know that Latvians were so hockey mad. It's great to know.
I love that.
I know, it was great.
That's great. Yeah, I didn't know that they've never like medaled or have never been higher than
Well,
6.
when you go to the tournament, there's always that sort of B in a lot of the world tournaments that they never make it through unless they have something, happen. They have somebody really good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great story.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. It was definitely a more positive thing to talk about.
More positive than John Cooper.
Yeah, definitely, because we need to talk about positive things in this stupid story.
Yeah.
So Stacey, do you want to talk about the snarky building?
So the last time, so let me step back a second. One of the things that I love is when teams get deeper into the playoffs, cities start doing fun things, orchestras and libraries, and so many people get into the playoff sort of madness, and it's just great fun to watch. A couple of years ago, I'm not exactly sure which year it was, but the social media team for the Empire State Building really got into the playoff series that the Rangers had played against the Carolina Hurricanes the last time. And Carolina posted this random tweet of the Empire State Building covered in red, and they said, "Storm coming." And of course, after the Rangers had won the series, the Empire State Building posted a tweet that said something to the effect of, "Don't believe the weather forecasts," and then posted a tiny little lawn chair with this was the storm, that the tiny little lawn chair that had fallen over in the yard. So of course, as this year's playoffs come along, I wonder, where is the building? Where is the very snarky building, as I like to refer to the Empire State Building as? Because of course, the Empire State Building likes to involve itself and other sort of people in fandom and other things in sort of very different ways. And so I was wondering when the commentary was going to come. And so there was, within the first series the Carolina Hurricanes played, there were some conversations that led to the Carolina Hurricanes social media team posting the word "cry" at the New York Islanders. So when, not very long after the Rangers won Game 6, the Empire State Building social media reposted this tweet that said "cry" and said "you first." And then at some point later, one of the continued replies was, "Apologize to the Islanders," because of what the Carolina Hurricane social media team had said in regards to the Islanders. And it was fascinating because, I was like, oh, so that's where the snarky building was all this time. But it's just one of those things that I love seeing in cities when go deep. It's the excitement. It's the pub posting, "We're doing this," or something to that effect. Like, it's literally
little social media battles. It's fun.
Yeah,
exactly. So
yeah.
And Fortune, you also want to talk about World Championship.
Yeah. So they're talking about Martin Prospero. So he hasn't, he wasn't that happy about coming to Calgary this year, but he ended up being a really good player, and I guess he's been just really having fun over at the championships. And one of the person he's been bugging the whole time is Brady Tkachuk, the Team USA captain. Just getting on his last nerve. You know what I mean? I love stuff like that. It's really fun. So it's not wild. It's just a nice feel-good story. And he also, and for Mel, it is Oliver Shillington's birthday today. He is still a baby. So happy birthday to him. And I've been keeping up with the Flames. And then AJ Green graduated from the Boston College yesterday as well. It's so bizarre to me to see, like, he's like a grown man, but he's just a baby with like a wife and a baby, and then he just graduated from university. So I'm glad more of that is happening.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. I think we can move on to the style report. I think we're getting through stuff today. Okay. All right. So, all right. So I had to dig deep to try find a photo because my team is and this is actually old. I didn't even know Pat Maroon was on the Bruins. I don't know what is wrong with him, but he feels like he goes from team to team to team, like, and I don't get it. So, Pat Maroon, that's my pick. I think that was like, huh?
I like it. I like that
Yeah.
picture of him.
He's got the really nice playoff beard, you know. He has a certain look. So, Stacey, is this Chris Kreider?
It is Chris Kreider.
I was like, wait, that's not him. Like, he just has a totally different look than I'm used to.
It is totally Chris Kreider. It's interesting because, you know, his first Ranger games were like right after he finished his university season and he joined the Rangers and they were playoffs and he scored. It was fantastic. And like seeing him grow and change over the years, makes me feel old, but also like watching him grow into the person that he is, watching him grow into this team spokesperson that he is wonderful. And I don't see him like he's confident and it's beautiful. And in that moment, like this is after game 6. So clearly like he's got some mojo with him at that point. You know, the playoff beard, the touch of gray, like you have him sort of sitting there and it's wonderful. It's wonderful to watch. This is also the point where I mentioned that his neighbors in a couple of pictures that have been blowing around threw hats onto his lawn. So that when he came home from the game, he saw the support. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic. The people have been very responsible, not posting a house, just posting him with the lawn and the and the hats, so which is great. But
awesome.
Yes, I wanted to. It's been harder too because like the Rangers have not been posting the getting ready suit pics as much, so it's like harder. It's been harder to find, but there we go.
Yeah.
Ooh, we need to do that.
Fortune, who is this?
All right, so this is Kelsey Plum. Like I said, my hockey season's over, so I've been ogling the WNBA players. She is from the Las Vegas Aces. Maybe Las Vegas can help Utah with their team naming. They won. They're the champions from last year. So this is her opening night fit. And it was their ring presentation night. And so I think she brought it. She went viral. And I love it. I love that it's everybody. Excuse me. Sorry. They used to just show like that. Like, do you remember like Cam Newton he always had like crazy outfits for football. And then what's it called? And I remember like
who that is.
well, he used to be the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, but he'd come out and he'd always dress in style, and people would always not make fun of him, but like they were pretty they're like, oh, he's so out there. But the basketball players do it all the time, the men, and no one ever says that they're looking weird or anything like that. So I love that everybody's getting into it, but then it all goes the other way. Like I remember Terrell Suggs came out in like just a ripped undershirt once to do his interview, and that wasn't really that fun either. But yeah, no, I love these fun outfits. Like you're getting your ring, you're like the champion. Yeah, like go out and feel good, look good. I like it.
Yeah, she looks great.
She's hot. Totally.
I mean, I have questions about that top. Like,
I would not have the confidence that it would stay.
I think there was be some double-sided tape used
There's
there.
gotta be.
Yeah. Well, it went viral because she was like walking into the arena and it wasn't moving. So like I go look up the tape. And then
Yeah, she's definitely taped down that.
I love it.
Okay. I feel like there's a story behind this, Kelly.
Yeah, so this is Josh Morrissey, one of the Jets. Well, I guess he is the Jets' best defenseman. Wearing an apron, so it's an unusual fit. The season's over, so I picked this one because it's not one of the, game day suits. And the story behind it is that, hang on, he, when he moved to Winnipeg, he used to go to, well, he probably still does, a local restaurant owned by a guy named Bobby Matola, and he and this restaurant owner sort of formed a friendship, and Morrissey's kind of a foodie apparently, so they decided they would do something together and open a restaurant, and it opened, I think it was right at the start of the playoffs. I think it might have been the same day as the first playoff game, in downtown Winnipeg, and it's in the Hargrave Center, and so they don't have a huge menu, but it's stuff that Morrissey likes, and so he's a local restaurant owner.
Wow. Have you been yet, Kelly?
I have not. I'll have to go check it out.
Then Mel, I know we have featured this guy before.
I know. But I figured it could be my last shot. Nikita Zadorov has like been the best dressed, like by a mile, and he is having the most awesome playoffs. He's just been really, I mean, he's scored, he's hit, he's been aggressive, and he's also been like a great quote. I think he said, "Oh yeah, they're really hardcore fans in Edmonton. Of course, there's not much else to do in the city." So now they just boo him whenever he touches the puck. But he says he likes it. He says, "I love to be the villain. It's fine." That. Hey, and he does the things that are good for the sport because they get people. And he also, for those of you who don't like Evander Kane, he and Kane have been going at it all Oilers, all during the Oilers series. So, and the looks are, I wish it was a full length because I always he's always got really nice shoes on too. But
oh yeah,
they've been the opposite, Stacey. They've been having the suits videos before every game, so it's been nice.
Well, hopefully he goes to, I don't know, the Rangers or the Jets or the Flyers, and he'll just make the round. Because I featured him every month, and then I think you have too. So the whole year. I love him.
He just is so much better dressed, and he was on Hockey Night in Canada, and he said, "I think I'm the best dressed player in the league." I think is word.
Do you remember his story? Way back when he wasn't getting featured, and so he upped his game, his style game, and he did well. I'm so happy.
Yeah,
he always looks good,
and accessories and everything. So.
Oh, can I just I don't know if you guys saw it. I just saw it briefly because he's we talk about him often. Hendrix Lundqvist has that new documentary on Netflix called Open Heart.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen this or heard anything about it,
No.
Stacey?
I heard about it, but I haven't watched it.
I have heard, same. I have heard a ton. I know a lot of people talked about sobbing through it. I don't have Netflix, but I will be out of town starting towards the end of next week. So I will be in a place that does have Netflix. So I will definitely watch it, but I will need a bucket of tissues.
All right. I won't spoil it then. Maybe we can put it on the agenda for next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So does anyone have any book releases?
No.
But I have good news. I'm writing. I've started a new book, and it's going to be part of a new series. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Awesome. Yay.
Sorry, I've been writing too. I got a new toy. I got an Alpha Smart. I had somebody like I've been trying to buy it off this guy for a year. He lives in not
I
Nelson.
haven't. Can you
Yeah,
see
maybe
it?
he lives in Nelson. Yeah, I think he lives in Nelson. I've been trying to buy it off him for a year, but he wouldn't ship it to me. And then I just had a friend there, just like
It is
randomly.
amazing. Amazing.
Oh my God, I friggin' love it. Like only being able to see 4 lines at a time, like it's annoying to have to go back. So I have to keep my train of thought. And it's been 2 weeks now, and I've been feeling really good because I haven't written anything all year. So I highly recommend it if you can just let the thoughts float away.
And the best thing is when you plug it into your laptop and then it uploads and you see all those words just flying onto the screen. You're like, oh, if only I could write like this.
Yeah, I have
Well, except that
Awesome.
you did. You have one too?
I don't
I
have
do.
one, but
Oh.
I have it's called a Rocket Book, and it's like erasable.
Yeah, I have the card.
Yeah, so you can like write in a notebook and then you can scan it and like you can change the settings so then it can take your handwriting and put it into a Word doc. It's still like a little bit of a messy and you have to go through and like fix things, but if you're not near a computer, if you like are traveling, I love it. It's made this. I've written like half.
There's like something, a new one called like a free write or something, but it's way more expensive than the
Yeah,
Office one. Yeah.
here it is. It's a Rocket Book.
That's so
So
cool.
How
it's
does
like
it work?
erasable pen.
Oh, nice.
It's erasable pen. So you like wipe it. Once you scan it, you can wipe it and like reuse the pages. So I love it. That's what I've been
Awesome.
using. Because I can't
I love
take when
that.
I go into the office for my day job, I can't like take my Mac with me. So it makes it easy if I need to like write some stuff on my lunch break, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have like a purse-sized keyboard or something that you could write.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea of writing because I do morning pages, and that's another. But then I get messy.
Oh yeah, it definitely like that's why sometimes I have to like go through and I'll be like, that was not what I said. Or like weirdly, sometimes I'll get like a symbol instead of the word, and I'm like, what? But like I figure out what I'm trying to say, so it's
Yeah.
eventually, yeah.
Well, I'm writing too.
Yay.
It's a new hockey series. I'll have more stuff to say about it soon, but it's going well, so yay.
Yay.
Great.
Great.
That's great.
Yeah, I didn't think any of us had any upcoming releases, but I couldn't remember.
December
Not
5th.
for a while. I have one in
Perfect.
August, but that's still a ways away.
Okay, so August and December.
Yeah.
Okay. So a little bit away, but we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
talk about it. All right. I don't have anything else. I think we're ending early tonight. Like, I feel like that's
Really.
shocking.
We're gonna do our probably last live stream of the season in June, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we decided for sure on a date.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
the
it's on the
23rd.
23rd,
Okay.
right? Did we
That
talk about
sounds
I don't know.
great.
We can iron that out.
June 23rd, and we can wrap up the playoffs and talk about maybe the draft and the NHL awards if they're doing them, and maybe book stuff.